Welcome back to our channel. Today, we'll be journeying to the height of the Cold War in 1963 in this 2015 spy film, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Warning, spoilers ahead. Napoleon Solo makes his way through the Berlin checkpoint but notices he's being followed by men we later discover as Ilya Kuryakin. Solo goes to a chop shop where he meets Gabby Teller. Gabby's father is being forced to build an atom bomb for the Nazis. Solo's going to get her out of Berlin so they can find her uncle Rudy and have him set up a meeting between her and her dad. As she makes way to the border, they're chased by Kuryakin, who turns out to be Solo's equal match. However, Solo has help. Waiting on the other side of the wall is a CIA truck that shoots a zipline up to the roof where Solo and Gabby end up. They are able to zipline over the wall. Ilya is right behind them, but the truck backs up, making slack in the line, sticking Ilya on the other side of the wall. Flashback to Ilya's briefing on Solo. Solo came to Europe during the war, but stayed there and became a great criminal. He was eventually captured, but the CIA felt his skills were too good to be wasted in a prison, so they recruited him. CIA Specialist Sanders meets Solo at a park. In the restroom, he lays out the mission. While at the urinal, he says, "What I'm going to feed you might be bitter. It's innuendo, but nevertheless it's true. It's Ilya Kuryakin." They fight. Ilya bests Solo in physical combat. The KGB director Oleg comes in and tells Ilya, "Don't kill your partner on your first day." Solo asks what that means. Sander translates. Solo says he understands the words, but what does it mean? Solo and Curry are teaming up on this mission. An antiques dealer. They believe a family business there that Gabby's uncle Rudy works for is a front. The business has been in Alexander's family, but it's actually his wife Victoria who's the brain behind the operation. Ilya and Solo get to know each other by revealing what they've discovered in each other's files. Solo triggers Ilya's rage issues, but the Russian manages to keep them in check. A keen eye will notice that Hugh Grant, who we later find out is a character named Waverly, checks into the hotel in Rome right before Napoleon does. When Napoleon checks in, he notices a couple of guys who are clearly evil henchmen in the lobby. He has his bags brought to his room, but he takes off. On the streets of Rome, Ilya and Gabby bond a little. Solo shows up and tells Ilya that he's going to get mugged, just so that the bad guys are sure that he's really a Russian architect, as per his cover, and not a super secret agent. His instructions are to be a pussy and just get mugged. Don't fight back. The mugging happens, and even though they take Ilya's father's watch, he manages to suppress his rage and not fight back. They even take Gabby's engagement ring. Solo pops up and they all go back to the hotel. Solo and the hotel desk clerk pop up some champagne and have some sexy time. Meanwhile, in the engaged couple's room, Gabby chugs vodka and tries to get Curry to dance with her. He won't. So she slaps him and they start wrestling. She passes out and he tucks her into bed. In the morning, Solo discovers a dozen monitoring bugs in his room. He goes to Ilya's room and hands them to him, telling him that they're Russian made. Ilya hands Solo about a dozen bucks too and says that they're American made. Ilya picks Gabby at the front of the hotel and gives her a brand new engagement ring. Solo heads to the party that Victoria is throwing. On the way in, he literally bumps into Waverly. We later find out that he picks his pocket and steals his invitation. Solo crashes the party, gets in a fight with security because he doesn't present an invitation. Victoria takes notice and Solo shows his invitation. He manages to lift a necklace and another woman's bracelet. Victoria asks how he got an invitation and who he was. He says his name is Devaney, and he's a man who specializes in filling in the gaps in people's collections. He gives her the bracelet and the necklace. Gabby and Ilya are also at the party. Rudy disses Ilya by wondering if Gabby is slumming in with a workhorse. Ilya goes to the bathroom and, well, he can't keep his rage in check anymore and ends up roughening up 3 Italian boys. Alexander takes a keen liking to Gabby right away. Back at a hotel, Curry has locked himself in the bathroom. It turns out that he turned it into a dark room and is developing film. Sure enough, his camera was able to pick up on radiation on clothing at the party. Yes, Gabby's dad must be close and working on that atom bomb. Both Solo and Ilya say that they'll sleep on this new information, but they both break into the company's factory in the middle of the night. Well, Ilya is clearly the muscles between the two of them. Solo is more cunning and effortlessly break into the large safe. It's empty besides a centrifuge used in making bombs. What Solo didn't count for was an alarm on the safe. They escape by jumping out a window and onto a boat. Solo falls off, swims to a dock where he finds a truck that has someone's dinner. He casually dines while Ilya gets chased in circles by bad guys on a boat of their own. They blow up Ilya's boat. Solo drives away but thinks better. He goes back and crashes his truck onto the bad guy's boat and then rescues a drowning Ilya. Victoria sees that a safe has been opened and calls Solo's hotel room. He's not answering. Rudy calls Gabby and asks to apologize to Ilya, but she says he's asleep. She then calls room 304 to tell the person on the other end that the meeting is confirmed. Victoria and her goons race to the hotel, but Solo and Ilya get there first. She and Solo get in on his room. The next morning, Ilya awkwardly turns on a tracker that's on Gabby's Gardner belt. A lot of sexual tension there. Gabby meets with her uncle and says that she knows her father is there and that he works for him. Rudy asks how he knows. We won't hear her answer just yet. Instead, we see Ilya, who's monitoring from afar, start running. Solo meets with Victoria. He pours himself a drink, but she's drugged it. He wakes up strapped to a torture chair. Rudy is an evil Nazi scientist who keeps a scrapbook of all the horrific stuff he's done. He has a blank page just waiting for Solo. Unfortunately, there's a shot in the electrical chair that Solo's in. Ilya pops in and rescues Solo and straps Rudy in the chair. He tells them that the warhead is already built. Ilya and Solo step out of the room to debate what to do with Rudy. In the background, the shot in the electrical chair fixes itself, and Rudy gets electrocuted to the point of bursting in flames. Gabby is brought to an island where her dad is working. She slaps him and tells him to finish the job. Alexander and Victoria seem happy with this. Meanwhile, Waverly turns out to be a member of the British intelligence, fills Solo and Ilya in on what's going on. The Brits knew that it was only a matter of time before someone grabbed Gabby and tried to get her dad to finish the atom bomb. They assumed it would be the Nazis who grabbed her. They're surprised that it was the Russians and the Americans. So Gabby has been working undercover with the British this whole time. She gains the trust of the bad guys by telling them that Ilya and Solo are secret agents. That's the conversation we weren't privy to earlier. She knew that her new engagement ring would have a bug in it and that Ilya would be listening. Solo says what he thinks happened was that really the British were working with her, but now they've lost her. They need the American and the Russians' help. Ilya and Solo are both told by their respective superiors to get the warhead, to diss with all of Professor Tell's research, and kill the other if necessary. On the island, Gabby and her dad try to switch lenses on the warhead, but Victoria sees. There's a second warhead there too. She orders Gabby be put in a cell and tells her father to finish, or she's dead. He finishes, and Victoria takes his disc, the backup is hidden, and shoots him in the head. Solo and Ilya storm the island. During the scene, Solo finds Ilya's dad's watch on a guard and grabs it. They find that Gabby and the warhead are at the far side of the island in a jeep being driven by Alexander. Solo chases in a dune buggy, while Ilya is on a motorcycle. The vehicles all crash. Alexander and Ilya fight, and Ilya stabs him in the head with his knife. Turns out though, this is the wrong bomb. Victoria disappeared with the right one. Solo remembers that Alexander photo of Alexander. They radio the boat, and Solo taunts Victoria about the way her husband died. They stay on the radio long enough for the good guys to track the boat. Turns out, they launch the decoy bomb and blow up Victoria, the atom bomb, and the fishing boat. Gabby apologizes to Ilya and returns the engagement ring. He tells her to keep it, so that he can know if she ever needs him. Ilya's boss tells him that the professor's disc wasn't destroyed, Solo has it. Ilya goes to his room. Solo pours drinks for the two of them and shows him the disc. They both decide to destroy it. Waverly and Gabby shows up. Waverly says that he's decided to keep the group together for a while and that they have a new code name, Uncle, United Network Command for Law Enforcement. This film is directed by Guy Ritchie. Some of his other works include The Gentleman, Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows, Wrath of Man, King Arthur, and Aladdin. The film's got a 68% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, based on 292 reviews. Thanks for joining us today. If you find our content entertaining, please like and subscribe. And if you have a movie suggestion, please leave it in the comment section below.